Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Welcome sa week 2 ng ating Learn and Earn program. This is a blockchain, crypto, and Web3 literacy initiative in partnership with Evolver and All Things Blockchain for the Filipino learners. For those who have not signed up sa ating program, pakiscan ang QR code na nasa inyong screen upang makapag-register. Question lang, nagawa niyo na ba ang quiz for week 1? In this session, we are going to discuss crypto basics, covering topics from wallet essentials, cryptos, and of course, safe ways to crypto. Konting inspirasyon muna on why you need to finish the program. Sa mga participants who will successfully complete the program, you will be receiving a digital certificate in a form of an NFT plus 10 Polygon Matic. To qualify for the rewards, you need to complete all the 3 quizzes, achieve a 70% passing score, and create a MetaMask wallet because that's where we will be sending you your certificate as well as your Matic, your Polo, should say. Show us some love, like, comment, and follow our socials and interact with us in the Education Hub to unlock more rewards. If you have not signed up for the Education Hub, please scan the QR code so you get access to all our quizzes and recordings. You also get to interact with members from the Evolver community, both in the Philippines and abroad. Speaking of interacting, you can also reach us sa ating community hub sa ating WhatsApp application. Okay, this is where I'll be going to drop announcements about recordings, and also links to the quizzes. So please check us out there. Join us in WhatsApp. Help us grow our community. Disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. Nothing here is legal, financial, or investment advice. Always do your own research. And also in this episode, there will be a lot of information. Okay, so you can always pause this, okay, and then come back later. Sa kalagitnaan ng session, mag-break muna sandali, tumayo, maglakad-lakad o mag-stretch. Mahalaga po ito para hindi ma-strain ang katawan at para mas makapag-concentrate. Okay? And lastly, I am not endorsing anything here. These are just examples that are available online. Always check with the official sites for official announcements. Show me the money! Bago pa natin discuss ang crypto, pag-usapan muna natin kung ano ang money, pera, datong, kwarta. So it's a medium of exchange, alam natin yun. Ang pera ay gamit pambayad sa goods at services like when you buy something from the store or when you pay someone for their services. It's a store of value, so iniipon ito para magamit sa future. And it's a unit of account, so panukat ng isang presyo at halaga. Evolution ng Pinoy Kaching. Before I continue, majority of the materials here is from the BSP website. Okay, just saying that up front. Nung pre-colonial era, ang mga ninuno natin ay gumagamit ng pelonsitos, maliit na peraso ng ginto or bulawan. Also, they have used gold rings for trading even before the colonization. Ipinakita nito na ang ginto ay matagal ng pinagkakatiwalaan bilang pera at imbakan. Spanish era. So when the Spaniards came, ipinakilala nila ang Real de a Ocho or piece of 8 at kalaunan ang kauna-unahang banknote sa bansa, ang peso fuertes noong 1852. After that, sa panahon ng Amerikano, when we gained our independence, basically, si Aguinaldo ay nag-issue ng sariling barya at papel na pera bilang simbolo ng kalayaan. Pinalitan naman ito ng mga Amerikano ng silver certificates na nakapeg o nakatali ang value sa US dollar. Then we had the Mickey Mouse money. Noong World War II, nag-imprenta ang mga Hapon ng maraming pera sa Pilipinas when they came to the Philippines. Tinawag ito ng mga Pilipino na Mickey Mouse money dahil parang play money lang siya. Dahil sobrang dami ng ang imprenta at wala nang tiwala ang mga tao sa nag-issue nito, which is the Japanese at that time, nagkaroon ng hyperinflation at halos nawala ng halaga ang pera. Ipinakita nito na hindi mahalaga kung ano ang anyo ng pera, perlas, papel o digital. The most important thing is that money has value because pinagkakasunduan ng lipunan na that's money, that's with value, pinagkakatiwalaan ang nag-i-issue nito at ginagamit ito sa palitan ng produkto at serbisyo. Modern era. Itinatag ang Central Bank of the Philippines at naging Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas noong 1993 to manage all our money. Ang peso ngayon ay fiat money mula sa salitang Latin na fiat na ibig sabihin ay let it be o ito ay pera dahil sinabi ng gobyerno. Wala itong gold o silver backing sa vault, walang intrinsic value or walang likas na halaga. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mag-print ng pera ang gobyerno at pwede rin itong bumaba ang value dahil sa inflation. Remember what I said about the Mickey Mouse money? Crypto, the next evolution. Ang crypto ay hindi lang bagong pera, ito ay isang great de-risking. Parang paglipat ng iyong mahalagang gamit mula sa bahay na may iisang gwardiya patungo sa digital vault na bantay sarado ng mga validator notes scattered across the globe. Bukod sa pagiging pera, ang crypto ay decentralized, programmable 24/7 at independent sa banks. However, meron din risks ang pagiging programmable nito. Pwede itong ma-exploit, pwedeng malak o mawala ang funds. Kaya, it's very important to have fail-safes at security audits in crypto, good governance at malinaw na regulation mula sa government upang mas safe ang users nito. Cryptocurrencies, again. Let's break it down, okay? What it is and what it's not. Ito ay digital na pera na ginagamit sa blockchain. Secured ito ng cryptography na nag-i-employ o gumagamit ng mga digital fingerprints tulad ng hashes at digital signatures para patunayan ang authenticity at ownership ng isang bagay. Hindi ito kontrolado ng isang bangko o gobyerno. This can be, or this is peer-to-peer, I should say. So, direktang padala. Walang middleman. Okay? However, ang crypto ay hindi easy money. Hindi ito guaranteed investment. Hindi ito magic bean na pwedeng magpayaman sa'yo overnight. At hindi ito anonymous sa lahat ng kaso. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, maraming interesado sa crypto dahil global, pwedeng gamitin kahit nasaan ka, while marami na rin naman ang yumaman dahil dito. Mas mura at mas mabilis na transaction, transparent at traceable, at walang bangkong tagapamagitan, so you become your own bank. It basically provides new avenues for learning digital skills as well. And crypto opens door where traditional finance struggles. Dahil kahit walang bank account, pwede ka nang magkaroon ng bank account gamit lang ang wallet at internet. The bad, it's volatile. Pwedeng tumaas, pwedeng bumagsak. So marami din ang nawalan ng pera dito. Nakakalito kung walang education. Sometimes nakaka-stress kasi it puts you in the driver's seat. You are responsible, walang call a friend pag nakamali. The ugly, scams, rug pulls at fake gurus, dumarami na rin sila. Too good to be true promises, of course, hindi mawawala yan. At kung emotional trader ka, maaring mawalan ng malaking pera. Kaya kung hindi mo pa ito naiintindihan, huwag mo na itong pasukin. Sa crypto, hindi sapat ang lakas ng loob lang, kailangan ng kaalaman. Mas matalinong diskarte. Bagamat basics pa lang ang tinatalakay natin sa program na ito, alam naming may iilan sa inyo na interesado ng pumasok sa crypto investing. Para makatulong sa inyo, magbabahagi kami ng mga practical tips at matalinong crypto diskarte. Number 1, sumubok muna sa mga learn and earn programs and practice with test application so you don't have to use your own money when you earn something from this program. BYOR, do your own research. Aral muna bago sumali. Huwag agad maniwala dahil in-endorse ni celebrity. Invest only what you can afford to lose. Umiwas sa mga pangakong guaranteed returns or unrealistic income. Huwag agad maniwala sa free rewards na walang effort. Huwag magpadala sa peer pressure. Hindi porket nag-invest ang kaibigan mo, ay mag-i-invest ka na rin. DCA or dollar cost average or averaging I should say. Unti-unti, hindi biglaan, parang installment sa crypto. Instead na mag-i-invest ka ng malaking halaga sa isang bagsakan, pwede kang mag-laan ng fixed amount so that you can buy regularly despite mataas man or mababa ang presyo ng isang crypto. Why can this be useful? Because mas less stress sa timing dito. Iwas din ito sa all-in sa maling presyo. And it reduces the impact of volatility. So in short, crypto by installment. Ang crypto wallet ay hindi naglalaman ng mismong crypto. The crypto stays on the blockchain ledger, okay? Ang wallet ay parang digital key manager na ginagamit para patunayan ang yung pagmamayari, basically. So, patunay na ikaw ang may-ari. It's also used to sign transactions at mag-manage ng inyong mga crypto at NFTs. Sa madaling salita, ang wallet ay interface mo sa blockchain gamit ang iyong mga keys. Key components ng isang crypto wallet. Una, public key or yung wallet address. Ito ang address mo sa blockchain na parang bank account number to enable you to receive crypto. Safe itong i-share. So, you can receive funds using this public key or wallet address. Private key, ito ang secret code para ma-authorize ang transactions at patunayang ikaw ang owner ng crypto. So, never share your private keys, okay? Seed phrase or recovery phrase, isang master backup or parang isang master key, kadalasan 12 to 24 words na ginagamit para ma-recover ang private keys ng wallet mo. Kapag may nakakuha nito, parang hawak na rin nila ang crypto mo. Okay? Ang seed phrase, just to give you a bit of context, para itong isang binhi. Okay? So, binhi ng wallet mo. Pwede mo itong itanim sa iba pang wallet app para patubuin muli ang the same wallet. Kaya, always take care, keep it safe, ang yung seed phrase, okay? Because remember, this also gives you the key to your crypto. Important reminder, kapag nawala ang seed phrase, wala nang paraan para ma-recover ang wallet. So, huwag itong isave sa cellphone o sa computer kasi pwedeng ma-hack. Huwag iwan sa lugar na pwedeng kopyahin ng iba. Isulat sa papel, ilaminate at ilagay sa selyadong lalagyan. Itago sa ligtas na lugar at huwag naman sana ninyong kalimutan kung saan ninyo nilagay. Okay? So, kalimutan mo na si X, wag lang si seed phrase. Transaction history, ang yung local copy ng mga transactions. Pero tandaan, ang official record ay nasa blockchain mismo, hindi sa wallet app. In summary, public key is for receiving, private key is for spending, while seed phrase is used for recovery. Mga dalawang uri ng crypto wallets, hot and cold, hindi ito shower. Ang hot wallet ay connected sa internet app gaya ng mga MetaMask or browser wallets. Ang cold wallet naman ay offline o di nakakonect sa internet gaya ng Tangem, Trezor, or Ledger na tinatawag ding hardware wallets dahil gumagamit ito ng physical hard device. Custody or non-custody. Hango sa Latin word na custos, ni ibig sabihin ay guardian o tagapagbantay. Ang custodial at non-custodial wallets ay dalawang paraan ng paghawak at pag-manage ng private keys. At dito nakasalalay kung sino ang may control sa iyong crypto. So ano ang custodial wallet? Parang bangko style. Isang wallet kung saan third party, gaya ng exchange, ang may hawak ng private keys mo. Ang exchange ay isang platform where you can buy cryptos. Ibig sabihin, may account ka lang sa exchange and you use your username and password but you don't hold the keys to your crypto. May kasabihan na not your keys, not your cryptos. Paano or ano nga ba ang kagandahan nito? Well, madaling gamitin, may password reset, very simple, may customer support, so it's good for beginners. Pero kapag na-hack ang exchange, apektado ang funds mo. Kapag na-freeze ang account mo, wala ka ng access dito. Kailangan din ito ng KYC or Know Your Customer where you have to supply your ID or personal data in saying that it's not really a bad thing. Medyo lang siya hassle. Ang custodial wallet ay usually hot wallet. Next one is the non-custodial wallet. Isang wallet kung saan ikaw ang may hawak ng private keys via your seed phrase. Ibig sabihin, ikaw ang sarili mong bangko and you are responsible for safeguarding your keys. Ano ang kagandahan nito? Well, you have full control of your crypto. No third party, you don't need to do KYC as well, and it represents true ownership. Pero, kapag nawala ang seed phrase, wala na ding pang-recover sa wallet mo. So, be responsible, okay? Again, safeguard your seed phrase, okay? And also, if na-scam ka or na-hack ka, walang pwedeng hinga ng tulong dahil nga it's your own responsibility, okay? So, to recap, private and public keys, let's watch this CoinGecko video.
If you own cryptocurrency, you most likely have a wallet where you keep your coins. However, these cryptocurrency wallets do not contain any actual cryptocurrency. Instead, they contain two kinds of keys, private and public keys. So, what exactly is a public and private key? A public key is a long string of characters which makes up the wallet address that anyone can use to send cryptocurrency into. However, to verify that transaction and prove that you are now the owner of that cryptocurrency, you will need to unlock the transaction with your private key, typically represented as a mnemonic phrase, QR code, binary code, or hexadecimal code. How do public and private keys differ? Well, a public key is used to send cryptocurrency into a wallet. However, a private key is what verifies those transactions and proves the ownership rights to a specific wallet address. Also, a public key is usually seen or shared with any user, but a private key must always be kept secret. In terms of security design, a public key is used to encrypt transactions. However, a private key can be used to both encrypt and decrypt those transactions. While you can generate as many public keys as you want from your private key, it's nearly impossible to generate a private key from a public one. And so you can always recover your public key from your private key. However, once you've misplaced or forgotten your private key, it's gone for good. Role in crypto transactions. Both keys are required for a crypto transaction to be successful. Before sending any cryptocurrency from their public key, a sender must use their private key to verify their ownership of the wallet. They will also need to know the public key of the receiver's wallet to know where to send their cryptocurrency. Aside from identifying the destination address, the public key also helps to encrypt blockchain transactions. On the receiving end, a user decrypts, unlocks a transaction with their private key. They also use their private key to verify that they are the owner of the destination address, and thus the new owner of the cryptocurrency sent to them. This key pair system is known as public key cryptography, and it is designed so that you cannot guess the private key using a public key. A private key protects your cryptocurrency from unauthorized access. It's important to always keep your private keys secret. Otherwise, if someone obtains your private key, they will be able to access your wallet, use the cryptocurrency stored within it as they wish. Remember, not your key, not your wallet. What other interesting facts do you know about blockchain security? What's your favorite cryptocurrency wallet? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, thank you for that, CoinGecko. Speaking of coins versus tokens. Parang plants versus zombies lang. Isipin mo ang coins na parang mga main plants sa games. Sila ang may sariling mundo o blockchain tulad ng ETH sa Ethereum. Ang tokens naman ay parang special plants or power-ups. Nakikitira sila sa blockchain at hindi pwedeng mabuhay ng mag-isa. Coins, as I've said, may sariling blockchain o native sa isang blockchain. Ginagamit ito for peer-to-peer payments or store of value. Examples, SOL or SOL ng Solana at XLM ng Stellars. Tokens, built on existing blockchains, meaning nakikiride on lang sa blockchain. It represents value, utility, or ownership. Kung ang coins ay gamit pangbayad ng isang network like a cash, ang tokens naman ay parang panggamit sa loob ng network gaya ng vouchers, tickets, memberships, at cards. More on tokens. Ang tokens ay mahalagang bahagi ng blockchain. Kung ang blockchain ang pundasyon, ang tokens naman ang gumagalaw na building blocks sa ibabaw nito. Iba-iba ang gamit ng tokens. Pwede silang maging utility token, so nagbibigay ng access sa isang serbisyo. Governance token, ginagamit sa pagboto at pamamahala ng isang DAO. Ownership token, patunay ng pagmamay-ari gaya nga ng NFT. At payments, ginagamit bilang digital na pera tulad ng mga stable coins. Utility token. Okay, so you can use this to pay for a product or a service. Parang load sa cellphone. Panggamit to connect to the network but you do not own the network. Example, Link ng Chainlink. Isang token sa Ethereum network na ginagamit para pambayad sa mga node operators na nagbibigay ng real-world data or Oracle services sa mga smart contracts. Governance tokens. If you hold a governance token, then you have the right to vote in the decision-making of a project or a DAO. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So ano ba ang pinagbobotohan dito? Well, for example, kailangan ng mga system upgrades or with regards to rules and protocols. And this is also used for paggamit ng treasury funds or I mean to decide on to how the treasury funds will be used or the pondo ng komunidad. NFT, proof of ownership, isang digital form ng proof of ownership secured by smart contracts. Hindi lang ito picture. Okay? So again, it's a proof of ownership. Paano ito gumagana? Parang resibo, pero digital na resibo or like digital title sa isang lupa. Ito ang katibayan na ikaw ang may-ari ng isang unique na digital item na pinapatupad ng rules na nakasaad dito gamit ang smart contracts. So, in this case, the smart contract becomes your automatic accountant. Halimbawa, digital collectibles o mga digital art or avatars gaya ng Bored Ape at CryptoPunks na ginagamit bilang profile picture. However, it can also be used to give you access to exclusive clubs or events because you own the NFT. And there's actually another one, NBA Top Shot NFT. Owning an NBA Top Shot NFT allows you to collect, trade, at magpakita ng official NBA video highlights or moments na nakastore sa Flow blockchain. Okay? So, sabi sa aking research, benefits nito, it's limited edition kaya may provable scarcity. 24/7 ang trading, so walang shipping at instant online. Pwedeng kumita kung tumaas ang value nito. Kasi nga, scarce, di ba? May exclusive access din sa community, in-game rewards, at minsan VIP events. Maraming brands ang gumagamit ng NFT, hindi lang bilang art, kundi bilang digital membership. So, for example, access, pagpasok sa events o pang-discount, auto rewards, may freebies or early access via smart contracts. Programmable perks na kung mas matagal mong hawak, mas malaki ang reward. Dahil nasa blockchain, permanent ang loyalty record. Ang customer ang may-ari, kaya pwede niya itong i-transfer or ibenta ang membership. Okay, NFT sa Pinas. Sa Pilipinas, Filipino digital artists sell NFT or I should say NFT art sa global platforms like, as I've mentioned before, Luis Benaventura ng Crypto Pop Art Guild o si Sevi Agregado ay ang Filipino artist with autism who gained recognition in the NFT space at a very young age. And alam nyo ba, yung artworks niya, I should say, ay na-display na sa Art Basel in Miami. Gaming and play to earn, again, Axie Infinity is a good example nito. So paglalaro resulting to token rewards na pwedeng i-trade or ibenta. Event passes and membership. This grants limited access to concerts, workshops, and communities. Certificates and credentials. This is emerging in the Philippines to prove your attendance or training or your achievements. Exchange tokens. So mga token na ginawa ng crypto exchanges para gamitin sa loob ng kanilang platform. This can be used for fee discounts, so mas murang trading fees, for rewards at special platform benefits. Reminder lang po, nakadepende ang value sa exchange token sa performance at reputasyon ng exchange, kaya this can go up or down in value. Example, MX ng MEXC at BGB ng BitGet. Security tokens. Ang mga tokens na kumakatawan sa real-world investment assets gaya ng stocks, bonds, at real estate. Pag sinabing RWA or real-world asset, meaning physical na asset gaya ng gold. Security tokens enables fractional ownership o hati-hating pagmamayari. May legal backing ito kaya lehitimong may-ari ka ng asset kung hawak mo ang security token. The concept of fractional ownership is like this. Kadalasan, kailangan ng malaking puhunan para makapag-invest sa malaking asset. Halimbawa, bahay o hotel o whatever that is, restaurant. Ngayon, sa pamamagitan ng tokenization, ang isang asset na for example nagkakahalaga ng 1 million pesos ay pwede nang hatiin sa 1 million tokens. Ang kita o dividends o income ay maaring ipamahagi batay sa dami ng tokens na hawak mo. Mahalagang paalala lamang, ang security tokens ay regulated asset. Ibig sabihin, may mga batas na sinusunod sa pagbili at pagbenta nito. Not all countries at the moment allow security tokens. At dahil ito ay investment, binabantayan ito ng SEC or Security and Exchange Commission or its counterpart in a country. So, mag-research muna at siguraduhin legal at rehistrado ang proyekto bago sumali. Stable coins. Stable meaning hindi pabago-bago ang halaga. Ang stable coins ay nakapeg sa isang asset tulad ng US dollar, gold, at iba pa. If we talk about US stable coins, parang nag-iipon ka na rin ng digital dollars kahit walang foreign bank account. Dahil digital, mas mura at mas mabilis ang padala. That's why this is being used for remittance, remote work payments, at small business transactions. Why stablecoins matter? Ang stablecoin ang tulay ng traditional finance at blockchain. Ginagamit sila on-chain for on-chain payments, for trading, for DeFi or decentralized finance dahil hindi masyadong pabago-bago ang halaga nito. Okay. Kahit stablecoin ang tawag dito, hindi ibig sabihin zero risk na ito. Let's look at 3 things to explain the risk. Number 1, ang peg or ang pagtali. So, pwedeng mawala ang $1 value or depegging. Halimbawa, $1 token, naging 95 cents na lang. Number 2, ang reserves o ang bodega. May tunay nga bang dolyar na sumusuporta sa token? Kapag hindi malinaw ang audit, delikado din ito. At number 3, ang centralization or ang remote control. May kumpanya sa likod ng stablecoin. Pwede nilang i-freeze ang funds mo, pwede silang ma-hack, at pwedeng maapektuhan ng bagong batas. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just laying out there so you are informed. Okay. Examples ng mga stablecoins, we've got Tether. This is the most widely used stablecoins. Then USDC for US stablecoin. It's a regulated US-based stablecoin. And then, did you know that we also have our own, this is fairly new, BHPC for the Philippines by coins.ph. So this is under BSP regulatory sandbox. To know more about stablecoins, you can click or you can visit this link. For example, this is Bybit, okay, article about stablecoin. Let's continue. Decrypting cryptos. Ang decrypting crypto ay hindi pag-hack o pag-break ng encryption. Ibig sabihin lang nito, in my context, ay pag-unawa kung ano talaga ang nangyayari sa likod ng isang token. Para ma-decrypt ang crypto, kailangan mong maintindihan bakit at paano ipinamamahagi ang mga tokens sa mga tao. For example, they can make bahagi the tokens through ICOs at airdrops na common ways to distribute tokens. At kapag alam mo ang pagkakaiba, mas madali mong mababasa ang tunay na intensyon ng isang project. ICOs or initial coin offerings. So, they can also be called token sale. Para itong fundraising ng startup pero gamit ay crypto, hindi cash. For example, may isang team na gumawa ng project and they need money or they need funds, kaya gumawa sila ng token. They then sell the token for the funds, obviously. So, parang pre-selling ng produkto bago pa ito fully made. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good. Ito ay isang innovation at encourages new ideas, new technology, at saka open sa global investors. The bad. No guarantee that the project will work at mahirap i-evaluate kung legit at minsan pwedeng maging unregulated. The ugly. Posibleng gamit sa scams at rug pulls. Yung rug pull po, parang hype muna, takbo later. Ang rug pull ay kapag ang creators ng isang project ay pinapasikat muna ang isang project para marami ang mag-invest or pinapabango. Tapos, after they get all the money, all the funds, they then suddenly nag-disappear. So, okay? So, naiiwan yung investors na nalugi. So, okay? So, biglang nawala ang project, nawala na rin ang investment mo. So, ICOs can be a high risk. Kaya, aralin muna ang project bago sumali. Airdrops. Airdrops. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, libreng token rewards sa early users. It's a way para makilala ang bagong project. Minsan may totoong value, lalo na kung legit ang project dito. The bad, hindi guaranteed ang value. Minsan kailangan ng oras or magkumpleto ng mga tasks at gas fees. Pwede din itong ma-hype at bumagsak ang presyo. The ugly, meron ding mga scam airdrops na nagbibigay ng fake links na maaring mag-install ng malware sa iyong wallet, which causes, pag-drain ng iyong wallet. So, be very careful din, guys. Golden rule, especially sa airdrop, walang legit airdrop na hihingi ng seed phrase mo. And also, if you are being rushed, okay, malamang too good to be true, scam po yan. So here, we tackle safe ways to crypto in our next slide. Hindi nawawala ang crypto dahil na magic. Nawawala ito dahil sa mga risks o panganib dulot ng machines or tool o tinatawag nating technical risks, mga kasinungalingan at panlilin lang sa tao or human risks, at saka sa mga emosyon or feelings or your reactions that could cloud your good judgment or yung mga mindset risks. Technical risks muna. For example, karaniwang panganib nito ay paggamit ng mga public wifi, halimbawa sa mall or sa cafe. Okay? Madalas hindi po secure ang connection dito. Paggamit ng mga fake hotspots, so mukhang legit at free wifi pero bitag pala. May man in the middle na gumagamit ng data sniffer tools like network analyzer or packet sniffer. Ito yung mga software na kayang sumilip sa data traffic ng isang network. Kapag mahina ang security or fake ang Wi-Fi ang gamit mo, pwedeng makita o makuha ang usernames, passwords, messages, Minsan, bank or wallet details if you happen to do an online banking while using this fake Wi-Fi. Insecure devices or networks, so walang password o mahinang security, outdated or lumang software version ng iyong apps, okay? Parang binuksan mo na rin ang pinto mo sa hackers pag hindi ka nag-a-update when the software tells you to. No 2FA, mas madaling ma-hack ang account dahil walang extra verification. Losing your phone without a backup can lead to permanent loss of access with no way to recover your account or wallet. So, siguro kung hindi naman talaga kailangan mag-internet pag nasa labas tayo ng bahay or nandun tayo sa public spaces, wag na lang gumamit, okay? Well, it's up to you guys. It's just as an advice, okay? Okay? Lalo pa if you are doing sensitive transactions, just to be safe. Okay, here we have an example of how to mitigate a technical risk. You can use 2FA or two-factor authentication. Ang 2FA ay extra layer of security sa account mo. Hindi lang password ang kailangan, may second proof na kailangan ibigay bago ma-access ang account. Okay, so gamit ito sa mga email, social media, crypto exchanges, and other online accounts. It's very highly recommendable or recommended to enable 2FA in your devices, okay? So with 2FA, hindi lang password, you can also, or you are asked to provide a code mula sa phone, sa SMS, or hardware device. Minsan, you can also do biometrics like Face ID or fingerprints, okay? So kung walang 2FA, mas madaling ma-hack ang account mo. Human risks, mga kasinungalingan at panlilin lang sa tao. So, layunin nito ang makuha ang iyong private information through phishing. So, panliling lang gamit ang email or text. Spoofing, pagpapanggap, fake admins, pagkukunwari, DMs na may urgency or direct message na minamadali ka upang hindi ka makapag-isip ng diretso. Impersonation through calling or phishing. So, nagpapanggap na kamag-anak, celebrity, or official na employee. Deepfake videos, okay? So, mukhang tunay pero hindi pala. Ito ay yung mga generated ng mga AI or artificial intelligence. SIM swapping, okay? That's also one of the human risks we're going to discuss. Okay, so again, safety rule, kung minamadali ka, malamang scan po yan. Kasi nga, urgency kills good judgment. Okay? Walang legit na tao o kumpanya ang hihingi ng password, seed phrase, at OTP. So let's look at some examples of the risks we just mentioned. Phishing, ito ay panlining lang para makuha ang iyong personal at sensitive information gaya ng password or bank details gamit ng fake but mukhang legit na message o link. Kapag sa SMS, smishing ang tawag doon at kung voice call naman, vishing po ang tawag doon. So ano ang dapat natin gawin? Maging mapanuri sa messages. Lalo na kung hindi mo ito inaasahan. I-check ang URL bago mag-click. Huwag magbigay ng personal info sa links o sa pop-ups. Huminto at mag-isip muna bago kumilos. Okay? Well, I'm gonna show you an example. Just the other day, I received a message that looks very legit. But when I look closely, may mali sa details. It has the wrong NMI for my property and I did not request for this work to be carried out. This just shows that mas nagiging sophisticated yung mga scam tactics ngayon. It's very hard to spot. Kaya magdoble ingat palagi. Spoofing is a technique often used with phishing, using fake sender address to make it look more convincing. It's like a wolf in a sheep's clothing. Okay? So, let's show you some example para mas mag-train tayo to spot all these scams. For example, yung from email address, sabi galing daw sa PayPal, pero PayPal pala, okay? Then yung greetings, mali-mali yung kama, at saka very generic. Normally, if it's really addressed to you, it will say your name. So for example, hello, Rose, ganun, okay? Hindi, dear customer, or hello, dear customer, okay? Then also, Another way to check is if there's a link, you hover your mouse on top of it, and then nakikita nyo sa baba, di ba? Iba yung nakasaad sa blue colored link, okay? Sa what's being shown when you hover over the link, okay? So, train yourselves to spot these tactics. Paano makilala ang mga AI deepfakes? Pahirapan na ngayon, I know, dahil gumagaling ang mga AI tools used to create these deepfakes. Kaya I think it's not going to be a surprise if blockchain will be used as a solution to counter deepfakes. Well, blockchain does not detect deepfakes directly, but it helps combat them by verifying the origin and authenticity of a genuine video through a transparent tamper-proof system. Okay, but while we are not quite there yet, verify before you trust. So if, for example, video looks real but fake ang endorsement at phishing pala, huwag maniwala agad. I-check kung galing sa official website or official page. Madalas may blue tick or verified badge ang official pages. However, hindi lahat ng may blue tick ay legit at hindi lahat ng legit may blue tick. Malamang hindi lang nakapag-undergo ng verification process. So, huwag i-click agad ang link. Pumunta mismo sa official site para iwas phishing. Voice cloning, kaboses pero ibang tao. Huwag magpadala sa boses lang. Mag-verify gamit ang callback or known contact number at magtanong ng personal question na kayong dalawa lang ang may alam. Halimbawa, ano ang nickname sa'yo ni Lola? Or saan tayo huling nag-dinner date? Emotional manipulation causing you to feel panic, awa, or takot. So, mag-pause muna. Scams work when you rush. So, stop, think, and verify. To wrap this up, let's watch this video teaching us tricks to spot AI deepfakes.
What if I were to tell you that I'm not even a human being? What you see is not real.
That was actually a deepfake. Now, deepfakes might seem like a harmless joke, but any technology can be used for evil.
I genuinely love the process of manipulating people online for money.
Have you ever been watching a video and suspected that it might be fake, and that the person in the video is not who he claims to be? Try playing the video super slowly. The mask will blur and you'll see a glitch. Not sure who you're talking to in a video chat? Ask your partner to turn his head to the side or hold his hand in front of his face. The mask will glitch. Remember these tips and share with your friends if you found this video useful.
Okay, SIM swapping. Ang pagti-take over ng mga kriminal sa iyong mobile number upang ma-access ang personal and financial accounts mo. We have here a typical SIM swap flow. Una, kinukolekta ng mga scammer ang personal information mo. So they look at Facebook or data leaks or phishing. Then, tatawag sila sa network or pupunta mismo sa office or outlet ng network. Magpapanggap sila, magkukunwari na ikaw ang scammer or sila yung totoong ikaw. Okay? Then they tell the office na nawala yung phone mo and you want a SIM replacement. Unfortunately, na-approve ang request maybe due to weak verification method ng network. Just as an example. Okay? So, ang resulta, scammer na ang may hawak ng SIM mo. Pwede nilang i-reset ang yung Facebook, email, at e-wallet, and other times as well pag nanakaw yung cellphone mo. Yeah? So, ano ang maaring signs na ikaw ay biktima ng SIM swapping? So, no signal. Biglang walang signal ang phone. No service. No service yung phone mo kahit alam mong may load ka naman. Then, you receive OTP messages kahit di mo ni-request. At also, you get locked out sa iyong mga emails or social media. Paano maiwasan ang SIM swap? Good thing to do, bawasan ang personal info online. Huwag ilagay sa public ang birthday, address o phone number. Huwag basta-basta magbigay ng impormasyon, lalo na sa tawag, text o chat na hindi mo naman sinimulan. Bakit? Kasi scammers may use your posts to guess answers to your security questions, okay? Secure document disposal. So, punitin o sirain muna ang mga papeles na may personal information bago ito itapon sa basurahan. Huwag SMS or OTP lang ang gamit. Bakit? Kasi mahina ang security ng SMS codes kapag na-SIM swap ka. Gumamit ng authenticator app kasi mas ligtas ito in comparison sa SMS. Halimbawa, Google Authenticator. And lastly, enable account alerts. So, para ma-warn ka immediately kung may suspicious activity sa account mo. Mindset risks. Mga panganib dulot ng sariling emosyon o pag-iisip. Number 1, FOMO. Ang pagpasok kahit hindi mo pa naiintindihan dahil ayaw mong mapag-iwanan. So, fear of missing out. Greed. Pagkagahaman, ayaw tumigil dahil gusto pa ng mas malaking kita. Kaya hindi na napapansin ang mga red flags. Next one, nahihiyang magtanong. Kahit may question, hindi ka nagtatanong, kaya umaasa ka sa sabi-sabi ng iba. Panic, pagbebenta dahil sa takot ng wala sa plano. Succumbing to peer pressure, minamadali ka na sumali or dahil uso or sinabi ng iba, kahit hindi ka pa ready for it. Tandaan, pag minamadali ka, malamang scam yan. Hindi ka photo ID, kaya wag kang i-rush. Pero nga, dahil prone tayo sa mga ganitong risks, mahalagang i-check ang sarili at mas maging responsable sa bawat desisyon. So, paano iwasan ang mga mindset risks? Here are just some tips for you guys. Labanan ang FOMO. Huwag pumasok kung hindi mo naintindihan. Mag-research muna bago mag-invest. Pigilan ang greed. Mag-set ng target limit. Kapag may kita na, okay lang mag-take profit. Kaya nga sinabi ng pinsan ko, profit is profit. Iwasan ang peer pressure, yung mga last chance trap. Walang legit investment na minamadali ka. Kapag rush ang usapan, red flag yan. Huwag magpanik. Magkaroon ng plan bago pasukin ang crypto investing. Aralin ang inyong entry at exit strategy. Magtanong. Mas mabuting magtanong kaysa mabudol. Hindi kahinaan ang magtanong. Ito ay tanda ng interes at kagustuhang matuto. Again, golden rule, walang legit airdrop na hihingi ng seed phrase, and if it sounds rushed or too good to be true, malamang scam po iyan. So speaking of crypto scams, here are some tips on how to avoid them. Example ng scam, yung mga fake ICOs and token sales. So maganda ang website, yung marketing okay din, nangongolekta ng pera pero biglang nawawala at walang project na na-deliver. Cloud mining scams. Kunwari, may guaranteed daily returns at yung pang-akit sa mga bagong users, may kita daw kada araw. However, biglang magsasara, tangay ang iyong puhunan. Honeypot smart contracts. Ito yung madaling bumili ng token pero hindi ka makakapag-withdraw. So, natrap yung money mo on-chain. Pump and dump, very common, especially in the early days. May grupo na nagha-hype or nagpapabango or nagpapasikat ng isang murang token. So, naturally, tataas ito. And then, yung mga nauna, sabay-sabay silang magbebenta. Late buyers ang talo dito. Malicious wallet or browser extensions, yung mga fake wallet tools o extensions na may goal to make nakaw your private keys for approvals na di mo naman ginawa. Fake airdrops and giveaways, yung free tokens kuno mula sa fake admin o influencer kunyari. And when you connect your wallet and lilimasin pala ang yung wallet through the malware na install sa wallet mo. Rug pull NFTs. So, malaking hype at pangako. Pagkatapos ng minting, nawawala ang team, so bumabagsak ang presyo. Naiiwan ang mga, again, late buyers with NFTs that don't have any value. So again, golden rules para maiwasan ang mga crypto scams. I know I've been dropping some golden rules. This is very important, guys. Okay, paulit-ulit. But it's better for better retention, for good retention. Always remember the phrase, no guaranteed returns. Walang siguradong kita. Pag nag-claim na may fixed profit, malamang bola-bola or budol or fake news yan. No first DMs. Ang legit na admin, hindi nagme-message first. Ikaw ang lalapit, hindi sila. Your seed phrase is private. Walang legit na airdrop ang hihingi ng seed phrase mo. Kapag nakuha na ito ng iba, ubos ang laman ng wallet mo. Verify URLs and contracts. Bago i-connect ang wallet, iwasan ang basta-basta pag-click sa search engine ads. Tingnan kung may misspelling or kakaibang character sa URL. Makikita mo, for example, kapag may HTTPS, meaning secure connection, at padlock, ibig sabihin encrypted at verified ang website. Also here, we go through some examples para matulungan kayong ma-identify kung fake ba ang isang link o hindi. These are just some ways, okay, of how they would make daya the website, for example. So we have here, number one, we've got metamask.io. Ginawang metamask.co. So pinalitan ang top level domain na .io ng .co. dict.gov.ph, for example, ginawang ditc.gov.ph. Example lang po ito, okay? So, pinagpalit ang posisyon ng letter C at T para hindi mo mapansin. Then we have trezor.io, ginawang trezor-io.com. So, ginawang subdomain by using the hyphen between trezor and .io to make it look legit. Okay. Extra safety strategy, do the SSL or the sockets, secure sockets layer check, okay? Example, you right click on this one and then you go to connection is secure. Then it says here certificate is valid. Then you have a look at the digital certificates. Yung digital certificate, ito yung parang ID ng website. Proving that it's legit. Then it also has here the public key. Ang public key is parang padlock ng website para i-encrypt ang data. Okay. And finally, avoid the hype, DYOR, or do your own research. Top safety tips, gumamit ng strong access control, i-verify ang bawat transaction, i-check ang wallet address gamit ang Block Explorer. Magpadala muna ng small test amount bago mag-transfer ng malaking halaga. Ayusin din ang iyong mga crypto tools, i-backup at protektahan ang mga keys o mga private keys at seed phrase. Gumamit ng cold storage and multi-sig or multi-signature. Ilagay ang malalaking asset sa hardware wallet or offline or cold wallet. Kung kaya, gumamit ng multi-signature setup para ma-secure. Okay? Manatiling alerto at may alam. Matutong makakita ng phishing, rug pulls at deepfakes. At tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aaral sa crypto security kasi tuloy-tuloy din ang mga scammers sa pag-i-innovate ng kanilang mga pamamaraan. As I've mentioned, strong access controls. Mga paraan para ikaw lang ang may access sa account mo, pwede nyo itong gawin. Okay? Laging i-update ang phone applications kasi kapag may phone update, especially software update of course, no? Gawin ito agad. Kadalasan kasi security fix yan. Gumamit ng strong password. Huwag paulit-ulit sa iba't ibang accounts. Pare-pareho lang yung password mo sa different accounts. Maraming Facebook account takeover sa Pilipinas ay dahil sa reuse passwords. Enable 2FA or two-factor authentication para kahit makuha ang password mo, may extra lock ka pa rin. So, mahirap pa rin pasukin ang account mo. I-lock ang phone gamit ang PIN or biometrics. Ikaw lang dapat ang may physical na access sa iyong device. I-review ang app permissions, maging mahigpit sa pagbibigay ng access, lalo na kung may ini-install sa phone mo. At kung hindi mo naman ginagamit yung app na, never been using, haven't been used, baka time na para i-let go. Sabi nga ni Ana, let it go. VPN or Virtual Private Network, it's a tool that encrypts your internet connection, helping to keep your data private and secure. Ang VPN ay parang private tunnel sa internet. So your private tunnel in the internet, it keeps or it masks your location at ini-encrypt ang data mo para iwas hacker at usisero. Kapag sa normal internet, para kang namimili sa mall na may name tag at hawak pa ang resibo. Kita ng ISP yung mga ginagawa mo at kung sino-sino pa ang galaw mo. Pero kapag may VPN, para kang celebrity na naka-jacket, naka-cap at naka-sunglasses, nakakapag-shopping ka pa rin online pero hindi ka madaling makilala o matrace. Ayusin ang iyong digital setup, gumamit ng dedicated browser para sa crypto, iwasan ang random wallet extension, at only install application from official sources. I-disable or remove wallet extensions na hindi nyo na ginagamit. Iwas kalat, iwas sabit. Kung na-leak na ang data mo sa internet, paano mo ito malalaman? I-check nyo po sa website na ito. Okay, so haveibeenpawned.com. Okay, what can you do about it? Pag nandun yung email nyo sa result ng search na ginawa ninyo, you can palitan nyo agad ang password nyo. I-enable ang 2FA or two-factor authentication for extra layer of security. And then when you finish that, don't be trigger happy. Maging alert to sa phishing. Huwag agad click ng click, okay? And that's about it for week 2, guys, ng ating Learn and Earn program. If you finish this recording, then you can head to the Education Hub for the link to the quiz. Okay? I know we have discussed so many new topics that you might not have heard before. So if you have any question, please drop it in the Education Hub or sa WhatsApp para sabay-sabay tayong matuto. Okay, guys? Kita-kits for week 3, the final week of our Learn and Earn program. Pag-uusapan natin ang Web3 sa week 3. Salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Sunshine and happiness your way, everyone. Bye!